Welcome everyone to the line by line analysis of the story A Very Old Man with Enormous Wings. So, just now we have seen the peril of Pelayo and how he is struggling with the supernatural being who is detained in the chicken coop. And in this story, so far, we find the deterioration of a supernatural being, and the old man, even though he is a supernatural being, his grandeur is not understood by the ordinary human beings in the community, and how the devaluation and the dehumanization of a character takes place. That is actually what is described here in the previous paragraph, when the supernatural being is getting constricted in a chicken coop. Now we continue the story. So as the story progresses, we have another character coming in, Father Gonzago, and he is the representative of the Catholic Church, and he is the parish priest, and he shows his concern over the spiritual well-being of the people, and he comes there before 7 o'clock. And let's go over to the text. Father Gonzago arrived before 7 o'clock, alarmed at the strange news. By the time onlookers less frivolous than those at dawn had already arrived, and they were making all kinds of conjectures concerning the captive's future. So here we are told subtly about the hullabaloo that is already there due to the presence of the supernatural being. So people, they come in large numbers, and several categories of people have been there. And here the writer speaks about the second category of visitors who are very much concerned about the supernatural being there, and they are fairly less frivolous than the previous group of onlookers, and they are making their own thoughts and interpretations and conjectures about the supernatural being and its future. The simplest among them thought that he should be named mayor of the world. Others of sterner mind felt that he should be promoted to the rank of 5-star general in order to win all wars. Some visionaries hoped that he could be put to stud in order to implant the earth a race of winged wise men who could take charge of the universe. So here in these lines, the writer speaks about the various thoughts and interpretations of the onlookers. So they had their own perspectives, and their thoughts varied according to their mental, spiritual and intellectual abilities. And for some, the old man should be made the mayor of the world, whereas some thought that he should be promoted to the rank of 5-star general so that they can easily win over all the wars. And some other, they felt that he should be made as the progenitor of an enlightened generation. So those are actually the thought patterns of the people who have gathered there. But Father Gonzago, before becoming a priest, had been a robust woodcutter. So that line is a very important line. Here the writer is making a subtle but sarcastic remark on the past of the Catholic priest. So a bit of inversion of a very high profile individual is what we find here. Standing by the wire, he reviewed his catechism in an instant and asked them to open the door so that he could take a close look at the pitiful man who looked more like a huge decrepit hen among the fascinated chickens. So again, the pathetic condition of the supernatural being, the angel, is presented here, and he is literally detained along with chickens, and even chickens are dismayed and they are surprised to see this huge figure amidst them. So they do not know what to do, and it is such a hilarious sight that is presented here. And father, he is eager to know more about the person, and he dares to be inside the chicken coop to have a close sight of the individual. He was lying in the corner, drying his open wings in the sunlight among the fruit peels and breakfast leftovers that the early risers had thrown him. So the squalor and the dirt that is there in the chicken coop, and amidst all these dirty remnants, the supernatural being, the so-called supernatural being, lies down, and father is getting closer to him to have a very intense look at the individual. Alien to the impertinences of the world, he only lifted his antiquarian eyes and murmured something in his dialect when Father Gonzago went into the chicken coop and said good morning to him in Latin. The parish priest had his first suspicion of an impostor when he saw that he did not understand the language of God or know how to greet his ministers. So again, in these lines, the writer is subtly pointing the presumptuous behavior of the Catholic priest, and he is judging the supernatural being by the way he speaks and his mannerisms. And the very fact that he cannot understand and respond in Latin is considered as a drawback in his personality and also in his capacity as a supernatural being. So these are actually the important signs that he look in the supernatural being to consider and to validate that he is an authentic angel. So here his intention is actually to authenticate the supernatural being, and he has certain norms to be considered in order to prove that, or in order to approve that he is indeed a supernatural being. And one important yardstick is the command over Latin. So in order to check his ability, his command over the language, the parish priest is conversing in Latin. But he did not get any response at all from the supernatural being. And he's looking closely at the dirty wings, which is quite a turn off for the parish priest. The parish priest had his first suspicion of an impostor when he saw that he did not understand the language of God or how to greet his ministers. Then he noticed that, seen close up, he was much too human. He had an unbearable smell of the outdoors. The backside of his wings was strewn with parasites, and his main feathers had been mistreated by terrestrial winds, and nothing about him measured up to the proud dignity of angels. So again, we find subversion of the supernatural being taking place here, and the father is trying to dissect the appearance of the supernatural being, and he cannot find any signs of a supernatural being or an angel in the old man, because his wings are so much full of dirt and worms, and he could see the odor that is quite nauseating. So here we find the Father Gonzago taking a closer look in order to validate the identity of the angel. So he is looking closely to find angelic qualities, and he can't find any in the old man. So when he looked closely, he could see the feathers are literally in a broken, damaged state, and it has been damaged by the terrestrial winds, and that again shows the weakness of the man and lack of the grandeur of an angel. So the character, Father Gonzago, is trying to find out or trying to find the features of a supernatural being in the old man, but he fails to find any, because he is someone more and more down to earth and more like any human being around them. And he has even the odor of a typical human being.